A trio from Norwich who recreate the music of the Middle Ages have started releasing a special series of online videos. Hexachordia usually perform at concerts, schools, exhibitions and historical reenactments. But with the lockdown, they've moved their activities online with a series of docu-concerts for people to buy. The latest one tells the famous story of Will Kemp, the man who Morris danced from London to Norwich. It's just a little bit of a taster of how it sounds.
The Morris was completed in 9 days of actual dancing. The whole venture was documented and published with a dedication to his patron Anne Fitton in a pamphlet called The 9 Days Wonder.
A clip from Hexachordia's latest docu-concert video. Tony Scheuregger from the group joins me on the line now to explain more. How are you doing there, Tony?
All right, thanks very much, Tim.
Good. I hope you enjoyed a bit of Renaissance and Northern Lights just a while ago.
Oh, yes, very appropriate.
That's what I thought. This show isn't just thrown together. So, tell me a little bit more about Hexachordia and how it all came about.
Well, we've been together now for about 10 years, quite a long time. But it came about because we've all three of us got an interest in early music, particularly the music of the Tudor period, Henry VIII and Elizabeth I's time. And, we've been playing concerts for, as I say, about 10 years. And this year, of course, there's been absolutely nothing. So we've come to a dead halt.
Yeah, you're talking about the Tudor period. Was that a period when music made sort of big changes rather quickly?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a very important time in England. I mean, there are very famous composers like William Byrd and Thomas Tallis come from that period, people who wrote choral music for cathedral singing. But, of course, it was the time of William Shakespeare. And Will Kemp, who we're going to be talking about, was, of course, part of Shakespeare's theatre company. So
what sort of instruments have you got when you get together and play?
Okay, well, I play a lute primarily. Jane is a wind player, a range of instruments, including the cromhorn, which we heard earlier in that little clip. Sarah plays an instrument called a viol, or viols, which are a bit like a cello, but with 6 strings instead of 4. And all of us sing. We'll try to, anyway.
The viol sounds like that's a new one on me. So it's like a cello, you say, but with
it's
6
similar
strings.
to the cello, but it comes in different sizes. One is very small, almost the size of a violin, and it goes right up to almost the size of a double bass. They were usually played together in a consort of 4 or 5, but they're unusual in that they have frets like a guitar, where the cello is just a plain fingerboard.
Oh, right. And these instruments, are they, if somebody was interested and they wanted to lay their hands on one of these instruments, like the ones you play, I mean, are they easily found? Are they expensive? Are they difficult to maintain?
Well, they're not easily found, but there are makers, 3 or 4 in Norfolk alone, that make lutes and viols, quite well-known makers. But usually they're ordered, and sometimes there's a waiting list of up to 3 or 4 years for them. And, yeah, they're quite expensive because they're handmade and they're made by craftspeople who, know what they're doing.
What I like about the music of that era, even though it's hundreds of years old, is that much of it just sounded very bright, very cheerful and very entertaining.
I think that's true. I think that's what we like about it, particularly with the Kemp's Jig, this video that we have done. Much of the music is very accessible. It's not difficult music, as maybe, say, people might find Mozart or Bach. It's music of the people, as indeed was Shakespeare and the plays that he was putting on. It was very popular at the time, and many, many people went to the plays.
So, your latest video, all about the story of Will Kemp.
Indeed. Well, Kemp was, as I say, a player with Shakespeare. He danced, or decided he was going to dance, from London to Norwich. Of course, Norwich was then the second largest city in the country, so it was an appropriate place to come to. But he did it, we believe, as a bet, or rather, he did it because people put wagers on whether or not he would succeed, and he gained his money that way from doing it. But nonetheless, it's, 120 miles? Quite a way to dance.
I was wondering if you got to the Watford Gap services and decided he'd made a big mistake. I don't know.
I think he thought he'd made a big mistake when he got to Bury St Edmunds because it absolutely snowed for...
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, with the pandemic, it was the making videos like this was an obvious option for you, I suppose.
Yes, well, it came to us just before Christmas when we knew we couldn't do any Christmas concerts. It's very popular what we do around Christmas time in churches and so forth. And we did a Christmas concert, which we put onto video, and we had quite a lot of people take it up. And from that, we thought, well, rather than just sitting on our backsides, why not get up and do something? So we started off by doing this William Kemp story. The next one we're going to do is the story of Queen Elizabeth's progress or visit to East Anglia and primarily to Norwich. So again, it's relevant. And of course, both of them involve music. The Queen herself was very fond of music, and Will Kemp, when he danced, had a pipe and tabor player who accompanied him on the way up to Norwich. And so it's very appropriate to put together the story, but also to have live music playing as well, which is what we do on the video. We're both playing music and telling the story in a documentary style.
So fascinating stuff, Tony. How well documented is Queen Elizabeth's visit to Norfolk?
Very well. There was a fellow called Churchyard who wrote a lot of the visit down, particularly the visit in Norwich. And so there's a lot of detail about who entertained the Queen, who she met, even which day she went to the cathedral. And so there is quite a lot of information about that. Again, Norwich was an important place, so it was the place for her to visit.
So I'm thinking, while you're telling me all this, Tony, it's not just people who love the music of that period. These are fantastic, just fantastic history lessons. We're talking about children who can't get out and learn. These are perfect, aren't they?
Well, I think so, because they also make it very accessible. And I think the inclusion of music really brings it up to date in a sense that it's not just dry old history that you're reading, but you're seeing and hearing the sounds that they would have heard themselves, and it fits so nicely with the story.
Would you ever want to? I've often thought not for very long, but have you ever wanted to go back to that period, if only for a few hours, just to have a look?
Well, it would be nice because there's so little we know, particularly, we're referring to Shakespeare, we know so little about him. We know probably more about Kemp because he wrote this pamphlet called The 9 Days' Wonder than we do about Shakespeare's life. And so, what was it like? So, yeah, it'd be nice to time travel.
But like I say, I wouldn't want to go for more than a couple of hours, though. I'll try the ale and then come back again, I think.
Yeah, no, well, it'd be the terrible plagues. Oh, wait a minute, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. Oh, yeah, exactly. Out of the frying pan into the fire, Tony.
Well, exactly.
How do we find out more about your works?
OK, well, we've got a website called Hexachordia.com, which is quite easy, Hexachordia. And on that, there'll be a page called Virtual Hex, where you can see a clip from this Will Kemp documentary, and there's loads of stuff about what we play and, or what we used to play, and so forth on the website. So it's hexachordia.com.
Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with it. And, hopefully one of these days we'll be able to get you guys into the studio to play for us live. That would be an absolute treat.
We look forward to it, yes. Thanks.
I'm not quite sure when that's going to be, but Tony, for the time being, many thanks indeed. It is BBC Radio Norfolk, as I mentioned.